Just a quick one here on the Zach Parker John Ryder fight this past weekend. I was asked by somebody in my Element group how I thought this fight would go, and I said I thought John Ryder would get jobbed on the cards. Now, the reason I said this is because obviously it was a Frank Warren show. I suspected it would go the distance. I didn't think John Ryder would get a stoppage of Parker. I thought it would probably be a points fight. But I can never forget when Zach Parker fought Darrell Williams. That was one of the worst robberies I can ever remember seeing. And you guys know it's very rare that I will come out and call a decision a robbery. Very rare. I'm different from most channels who do it every other weekend. No, I very rarely will come out and call something a robbery. But that fight, Darrell Williams against Zach Parker, that was a horrendous robbery. It was such a bad robbery that Darrell Williams was so disgusted by it that he hasn't fought since. Do you know what I mean? Normally, a fighter will retire when they lose, as in, get a beating or something. Darrell Williams was robbed. So, yeah, he officially lost, or was it a draw, or did he lose? I think he lost. But fighters normally will retire when they take a beating. Do you know what I mean? And really lose, properly lose. Whereas Darrell Williams got robbed so bad, he turned his back on the whole sport. That's how disgusted he was by it. Shocking. Now, Darrell Williams is a pressure fighter. You know, he was a big fan of Mike Tyson. He swarmed all over you with a Tyson-esque style. John Ryder, of course, much more experienced than Darrell Williams, but also likes to throw short, compact shots at mid and close range. You know, a more sophisticated boxer. And he's obviously been in there with, back in the day, the likes of Nick Blackwell, and more recently, the Callum Smiths, the Danny Jacobs of the world. So he's fought at a higher level. And I thought, well, if Darrell Williams can do what I saw him do to Zach Parker, surely John Ryder is going to give Zach Parker all types of problems as well, particularly with his experience and, more polished technique and so on. Not that Ryder is an out-and-out pressure fighter, but he likes to apply pressure generally, and he's very good with the short and mid-range shots. So that's why I was thinking going into the fight, but it never got that far because Zach Parker quit with a broken hand. Now, he took his glove off after the fight, and yeah, John Ryder was definitely starting to come on a bit. Zach Parker was having his bits of success. John Ryder was coming on a bit, but that hand was definitely broken by the looks of it. The hand looked weird and there was a big swelling on it. I've had a broken hand myself, so, I know what they're like. And I know what the pain is like. But in professional boxing, there are lots of fighters who break their hands and they carry on regardless. So I'm not here to tell you that, Zach Parker's a coward and he's this, that, and the other. No, all I'm here to tell you is that there are fighters who would have continued. And so we have to compare Zach Parker to those fighters in terms of his mental strength and his fortitude and his toughness. He's clearly not as tough as some other fighters out there who are willing to carry on. Now, some people say it's a sensible decision by Zach Parker. Maybe it is a sensible decision. Because if you carry on with a hand like that and your hand gets even more jacked up, it could affect your career. You may never be able to punch properly again with that hand. So perhaps it's a sensible decision. But sometimes in boxing, you have to show a level of bravery that isn't sensible in order to get a win. Is Zach Parker capable of doing that? Because he's now got a loss on his record, right? And let's say next time it's not a broken hand. Let's say next time it's a broken jaw or a broken eye socket or a dislocated shoulder or some other type of injury. Is he going to quit again? Just asking the fair questions here, people, because again, some fighters will not bend and they will not fold. So it's not like we're comparing Zach Parker to the average man on the street. We're comparing Zach Parker to other professional fighters. And yeah, he quit in this fight. So it was what it was. John Ryder is now mandatory for Canelo Alvarez. Eddie Hearn's been talking about, getting Alvarez over to the UK and having John Ryder fight him. We'll see about that. And as for Zach Parker, well, he was calling that Demetrius Andrade fight on for a long time. If Andrade has seen this fight here between Zach Parker and Ryder, he probably regrets not going ahead with the bout. As far as I'm aware, as far as I can remember, the reason that Andrade didn't go ahead with a Zach Parker bout, I think there was injuries a few times or whatever, but there was also, from what I can remember, some issues regarding money because Andrade wasn't getting paid a lot. When he was with DAZN, he was getting some really nice purses, despite the fact he wasn't some big star, but he was still getting some nice purses. So I guess he doesn't want to go backwards financially. I guess he just couldn't bring himself with the paycheck that he was being offered for the Zach Parker fight. He couldn't bring himself to take that fight. Maybe he saw some danger there as well, particularly after Andrade's fight against Liam Williams, where he did get hurt. He did have some issues. Even though he dropped Williams and, he did a lot of good work himself, he did get hurt in the fight. He did find it a little bit rough. But again, after seeing Zach Parker there against John Ryder, Andrade might be kicking himself thinking, I should have taken that fight, because if he had taken it, then he would be in line for Canelo if he won. So anyway, that's Zach Parker. Let me know what you guys think about him and his performance against Ryder, the fact he quit, in the comment section below. Do you think this is a red flag? Do you think this is a fighter who, if he's decided to capitulate once, will do it again in the future? Some fighters are like that. Victor Ortiz, for example, he had a history of quitting in fights. So let me know what you think.
If you're tired of the biased narratives and mass censorship on mainstream platforms, and you want to be part of a community of critical thinkers who love free speech just as much as you do, then come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide variety of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&As, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high quality MP3. We've also got an Element group where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. Unlike Discord, it has full end-to-end encryption, is decentralized, and it's 100% censorship free. You can also send voice notes as well as much larger audio and video files than you can on Discord. So come and sign up on Patreon. There's no contract, there's no commitment. You can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. So I'll see you over there. I'm out.